Again, I am so sorry. My internet's been really flawed tonight. My internet went down about 1 a.m. and I thought it was all right. I saw that I dropped out and I apologize for that. Welcome to Semper's Bunkhole, 300 feet deep, safe from NSA prying eyes. What should I say? FBI prying. NSA eavesdropping. I hope I hope I didn't inconvenience you too much. Do a pop out chat right there. Let's see if there's anybody here. Nobody here yet. Definitely live. There is one connected viewer, and that would be me, Catman. Hey, we were just talking about cats, me and Samantha. No, but we were just talking about cats. I just picked my big cat up. He's about about, my cat is about big, big cat. I got a big cat. His name is Rover. Oh, there he is, right there. That's Rover, the big cat. Yeah. How are you doing tonight, cat man? Or this morning at 4:28 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. Yep, there is one here, and it's you, cat man, right now. Go away, go away, Fido. That coffee is good early in the morning, isn't it? We're going to wait for a few more people to come in. If that happens, okay, Catman? I'm going to wait for a couple. Drinking some homemade wine. I used to read water meters, and I went into this guy's basement one day, and he had all these containers set up, right? They look like water containers. All right, there are two watching. Thank you, Catman. But there were all these containers sitting on the floor, and they had these little tubes coming up, right? And them little tubes were just bubbling. Guess what he was making, Catman? I mean, containers come to a spout with a little cork in it and a little tube going over with a little water in there. Who else is watching out there? Well, there's somebody else watching, but they're not in the chat. There, that's correct. I see it here now. Great. But I'm going to drink a couple swigs of coffee with you and wait for another person or person two or three to come into Semper's Bunkhole, 300 feet deep, safe from them NSA prying eyes. No, I always get it backwards. Safe from NSA eavesdropping, secure from FBI prying eyes. Yep. All right. Let me get down to some business. This right here. Oh, sorry about that. All right. I got some replies back from the Pitt County Sheriff's Office. Now, let me put my spectacles on here, okay? All right. Here we go. Got this on. This was letters were written. One was written October 30th at 2:20. October 30th, 2:20, 2020. On Monday, October 19th, 2020, you filed a complaint with our agency. In our meeting, you requested our department policy on standards and of conduct. I have enclosed that portion of the policy for your review, and I did get a whole stack of policy from them. Policy, a whole bunch of policy. It wasn't what I was looking for, so they sent me that. Thank you very much. Name is Major Atkins. Thank you very much for that, Major Atkins. I appreciate that. Ooh, it's a raspberry wine, huh? Awesome. Awesome, Catman. Okay. On Thursday, October 21st, 2020, you filed a complaint with our agency. I would like to take this time and sincerely apologize to you for any upsetting interaction you may have experienced. Yes, it was quite upsetting. I also want to assure you that Sheriff Dance takes your concerns very seriously. Thank you very much, Sheriff Dance. I appreciate that. Your complaint has been thoroughly investigated and has been handled accordingly. It has been My complaint has been handled accordingly. And that was on Sergeant Sires last a couple weeks ago. Sergeant Sires. I just got done posting my latest video. Where I went back to the detention center to finish my damned story. Kept on being bothered by these people. I mean, I just wanted to continue with my story. Yes, military rank and tanks. They have military tanks too, if you haven't noticed. Okay, that was on Sergeant Sires for trespassing me. Okay, now the other one that I got right here. On Wednesday, November 18th, 2020, you filed a complaint with our agency. I would like to take this time and sincerely apologize to you for any upsetting interaction. I've heard that somewhere before. Where did you hear that before? Where did you guys hear that before? You may have experienced. Yes, it was deja vu. It was an upsetting interaction. That's whenever I was handcuffed. Yeah, it wasn't I also want to assure you that Sheriff Dance takes your concerns very seriously. For some reason, I've read this before. I also want to assure you that Sheriff Dance takes your concerns very seriously. Your complaint has been thoroughly investigated and has been handled accordingly. Unfortunately, this is an employee matter, and as such, it is protected under North Carolina law, and I am not allowed to discuss the details of the investigation without. Do you get what I'm saying here? Yeah, you know what? Them handcuffs are not sexy. My thumb is still numb. Okay, so got responses back. Of course, form letter, but that's fine. At least they acknowledged me, and they're taking it. Sheriff Dance is taking it seriously. All right. Ira Z. Catman. Very much. Thank you very much for coming into Semper's Bunkhole, 300 feet deep, safe from any NSA eavesdropping. Secure from them FBI prying eyes. I am surrounded with a Faraday cage. That's gold-plated Faraday cage. They cannot get in at all. They don't even know where I'm at. And I do not crack my hatch for any local police knocking on my door. I only come out to audit. I only come out of my bunkhole to audit. How many participants we got in here? All right, we have 2, but that's all right. Because what I like to do on my shows, I like to have fun. I like to educate myself and inform others on the interesting case law that I've discovered. And we're going to move on here in a second. And because I gotta go to this room. But so actually, let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and get the hell out of here. Go to the bathroom. I got to go to the bathroom. I just got to go to the bathroom. I am so sorry. We have to go through this tunnel to get to the bathroom. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Ooh, step over that, please. Ooh. Step over that one, please. I am so sorry about that tunnel, folks. But my bathroom smells much better. Hey, how do you like check out my bathroom, right? Yeah. Waving from NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana, Creole. How are you doing, Creole? Welcome to Semper's Bunkhole, 300 feet deep in my bathroom, my cave bathroom. Now check this out. Watch my bath here. Check it out. Yeah. See, I'm not alone down here. I am not alone down here. Homie's down here with me. That's my homie. Yeah. Hey, you're welcome, Creole. Welcome to Semper's Bunkhole again. Yeah, homie's down here. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Yeah, I got it all down here, man. Beautiful bathroom. I do. And uh-oh. There's somebody. Is there somebody? Oh, Larry. Oh, Larry. Larry, what are you doing stuck in my toilet again? Larry. No, I'm not going to even try to get Larry out of it. I'm just not going to try to get out of it. Larry, get out of there. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's get out of this room. I'm done. I'm done. Let's go. Okay, let's go to this room because it's one of my favorite rooms. This is a much more pleasant tunnel to go through also. Welcome to my horticulture room. Semper's Bunkhole horticulture room. Horticulture room. Yeah, my horticulture room. I grow peppers and my banana tree. Look at my banana tree. Beautiful. Yeah. I have all kind of fruit, vegetables. I have everything down here. I grow everything in my horticulture room. I grow everything that I could possibly ever need. Plus, so if the doomsday ever comes, I have everything that I could possibly ever need. I don't ever have to come out of my bunkhole other than to audit. Watch them government tyrants for you. That's what I do down here. So I'm telling you, I have it all. Okay. And I have one person to thank for this. One person to thank for this.
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
Pup Dog. Pup Dog is my master horticulturalist. Yes, my master the best in the world. I could not grow all this surplus food without my man Pup Dog. All right. Okay, I have to before I get going here, I have to do before I do what I have to do, I always have to here, let's put that down there. All right. Has anybody else come into the room? There are 0 people in the chat. There is nobody here except for me, Catman, and Creole. But that's all right because we're going to have a good time anyhow. You're growing a pineapple on a coconut tree. Are you like grafting it on there, or are you what? I guess it would be like considered a clone, where you graft a branch onto a. You used to make tea from the stems. It was good. Awesome. All right. Sorry, but we got to move on. We got to get out of this room, and I'm going to take you to my one of this is my favorite room in Semper's Bunkhole. Welcome, 300 feet deep, safe and secure in Semper's Bunkhole. We're going to the weapon room. This is my favorite. I'm telling you, you're going to like my weapon room. You're going to love my weapon room, man. Yeah. Catman says his tea was a mellow tea, mellow yellow tea. No, it's probably green tea. This is my weapon room. Now, I wanted to show you this. See this? See this machine gun right here? This machine gun right here doesn't require black powder. It doesn't require any propellant. It's an electromagnetic Gatling gun. I really like that idea, Ray. You'll have the first pineapple tree. That's good. But it's a rail gun. You know what a rail gun is? It's electromagnetic. The the magnet propels the projectile. It goes. It's incredible. It's for clearing any large crowds. I mean that gun right there. If you have a crowd of zombies attacking you, this gun right here, it'll clear it out. Zombie, this is great for them zombies out there. Now, of course, I have my standard SKS right here. That's my standard SKS, over here. Going down, I have my regular, just standard 5.56. Back here, here's a good one right here. See this one right here? That right there. That one's my favorite. That's my go-to right there. Up close. That one right there, up close. Yeah. Dirty Harry had it right. Yes, I hope it works too, Ray. All right. Now we got we went to the horticulture room. I had to show you my weapon room. I think you appreciate my weapon room, right? So now we're going to police precinct 13. Yeah. We're going to police precinct 13. Oh, this tunnel again. PP 13. Police precinct 13 for short. Oh, please again. I apologize. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Oh my. Oh my. I'm so, man. I'm so sorry about that tunnel, folks. Oh my. I'm so sorry about that tunnel, folks. That's a nasty one. That's one of the first ones but the closer I get, because it came up from 300 feet. Now I am directly below 13 feet below PP 13 headquarters. It's right above me. But shh, the inmates are sleeping right now. Yeah. I'm in police precinct 13, 13 feet below the headquarters up top. But shh, the police are active up there. Let's go find out. Shh. Let's go find out what's going on up there.
Spread your legs on real quick. There you go. Hands on your head. Oh, yeah, there you go. See it shaking. It kind of make me nervous.
It's cold outside.
Yeah, it's cold?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay, what's this right here? Okay, what's this right here?
That's my penis.
That's your penis. All right. Sorry about that.
Alright.
Oh my. That was his that's his dick. That was his penis. These police at PP13 are the most stupid police in the fucking country. The police officers up at PP13 are really stupid. They are just absolutely batshit stupid. I mean, just.
What's this right here?
That's my penis.
That's your penis. All right.
Oh.
That's my penis.
That's your penis. All right.
That's my penis.
That's your penis. All right.
Oh my, that's your penis. That's your penis. Okay, let's go back to replay on them. Okay, let's just go the replay. PP13 police officers on the job,
Spread your legs on real quick. There you go.
making sure you're safe,
Yeah, there you go. See it shaking. It kind of make me nervous.
servicing you.
Cold outside.
Yeah, it's cold?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay, what's this right here? Okay, what's this right here?
That's my penis.
That's your penis. All
Oh,
right.
that's
about
my
that.
penis.
Alright.
Oh.
What's this right here?
That's my penis.
That's your penis. All right.
That's my dick.
That's your penis. All right.
Yeah.
That's my penis.
That's your penis. All right.
Boy, there's some junk being grabbed up there at PP13. That's only 13 feet up. They're grabbing dudes' dicks and shit 13 feet above. Shh. Sorry, the inmates are still sleeping. They gotta get up in here in a minute, but shh. I'm down below 13 feet below. Okay. Let's see what else is happening. PP13. Let's go find out what else has happened at PP13. They're just the most unlucky police department. They can't get anything right. PP13. They're going to come and get you. Bad boys, bad boys. What you going to do? What you going to do when they come for you? Bad boys, here they come. Going around the corner. He went that way. Went that way. Oh, I'm sorry. They went that way. No, they went that way. Police precinct 13, PP 13. Just terrible, terrible police officers. The worst. They are the worst. Again, here we go. Up top. 13 feet. I hope this doesn't wake. I hope this does not wake up the inmates. Oh my goodness gracious. The inmates are up now. That commotion just woke the inmates up. Now they're all pissed off. They can't. No, hey, blame Sally. She's the one that was on the motorcycle. Blame Sally. Now let's put that spittoon right there. Most unlucky police department in the country. All right. Got anything else? I don't think I got anything else from up there. Yeah. Nothing else from up there at PP 13. So let's go ahead and head to another one of my favorite rooms in Semper's Bunkhole. By the way, welcome to Semper's Bunkhole, 300 feet deep. Well, right now I'm 13 feet below Police Precinct 13, but normally I'm about 300 feet below the surface of the planet, safe from any NSA eavesdropping. Safe and secure from any FBI prying eyes. The local police, they have no clue of where I'm at, and I only crack my hatch. Come out and audit for you. All right. Go to my law library. See you later, Catman. All right. Here's my law library. Isn't it beautiful? All right. I got some law for you today, or for this morning. Legal stuff, legal ease, as they say, right? And I found it fitting to do a live show since I got my response letters from my complaints from. Okay. From the Pitt County Sheriff's Department. I figured that I'd fill you in on a little bit of my research here. And let's check this out. Isn't that cool? Good friend of mine gave that to me. He actually served most of his tour on a battleship. Good friend of mine gave me that. He passed away not too long ago, probably about 5 months ago. And he gave me that for a reason, you know? Gave me that for a reason. He gave me a couple blankets, actually a couple blankets and like an Afghan, they called them. Marine Corps blankets and stuff. He gave me that just a month or so before he passed away, and it's just funny how he started giving me stuff. Where I'm at, it's still Sunday. All right. Well, I thought you'd think that was pretty cool right there. And for all these people, or not all, just one person in particular, I am a Marine. Okay. So don't let your little heart fret that I'm not a real Marine. I'm a real Marine. You can look into my background. My background is wide open. I'm a Marine. All right, now that we put that to rest, I want to show you some not case law, but some law, local law, North Carolina, laws pertaining to disorderly conduct, because my hearing's coming up on the 17th. My hearing is coming up on the 17th of this month. And I've been doing research, and I had a hard time finding this judge, Judge Braddour, in North Carolina in 2011, in essence, said that the profanity laws in North Carolina, which Pitt County was exempted from anyhow from 1913, from these profanity laws, Pitt County was exempted. The place that I was arrested for profanity was exempted from the profanity along the highways and byways, 19-97, I do believe, or 14-97, I do believe, criminal code. Then that criminal code, profanity on the highways was revoked in 1915 by the legislature. So 14-97 was revoked after these cases right here that I'm about ready to show you happened. So in 2011, this is where it all started in North Carolina, the unraveling of crimes pertaining to speech, because the Supreme Court in Houston versus Hill, City of Houston versus Hill, said, of course, speech, especially speech at officers, was constitutional. It pretty much settled the case law when it comes to disorderly in speech. And a lot of other cases came after that referred to Hill versus or Houston versus Hill. And so in 2011, this judge, it's a Superior Court judge, Judge Braddour, heard a case, and I'm going to show you that case right now. And I had a hard time finding the case because it wasn't a case that was settled in court. This was a dismissal of the charges. So that's why I had a hard time, and I'm going to show it to you right here. Okay. This is why I had a hard time finding this case. This case is the state of North Carolina, right here. State of North Carolina versus Samantha Alabano. Okay, I do believe that's how you pronounce it. So this is very interesting. This case is very interesting because it fits right in line with my case. But my case is different because now that they got rid of 14-97, swearing along the highways and byways, hey, Redneck Rebel, good morning, man. Okay. Now that 14-97 is no longer in existence, they, in essence, graduated any crime when it comes to profanity and fighting words to a disorderly conduct. And police have started to use and have used disorderly conduct as a catch-all, right? And if you understand the way the Supreme Court and what they've had to try to do is to refine what language causes a violent reaction. What language? How do you define and refine down speech to the point where it's hateful enough to incite violence? So, and that's what all the Supreme Court and all that have tried to rule. And I'm going to tell you this, the word fuck is not one of them. That it's as a matter of fact, the Supreme Court has wrapped its whole entire cases around that specific word from Cohen versus California on up. So this case right here is really interesting. I want to read it to you. This is a dismissal, order granting motion to dismiss. Now check this out. Okay. This cause coming on to be heard and being heard before the undersigned Superior Court judge presiding. Okay. Let's go down to here. On February 15, 2010, defendant was engaged in conversation near a bus stop in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Defendant stepped into Franklin Street as Chapel Hill police officer Bellavance and Telfar drove by in a patrol car. The officer stopped their vehicle and asked the defendant to move along. The officer and defendant knew each other from a prior instance. As defendant was returning to the sidewalk, she said, "You need to clean your damn dirty car." The officer began departing and driving away from the scene. After returning to the sidewalk, the defendant called the officers assholes. You can see it, right? You can see it. Hey, clean your damn dirty car, and you assholes. Okay? So, the officers immediately stopped their vehicles and arrested defendant. Oh, get out of the way, cat. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. There you go. Yeah. Here. He's too big and he can't get down, so come on. Okay, now that the cat's gone. Okay. The officers immediately stopped their vehicle and arrested the defendant. Okay, does this sound like my case at all? Where I said, "Get the fuck out of here," and she said, "Clean your damn dirty car, you assholes." So they immediately stopped their car. Sergeant Guthrie immediately stopped his car, got out of the vehicle, and arrested her. And then also arrested me. Okay? See, it fits right in with my case. Except this is the 14-97. This is before these statute that she was charged under the swearing along highways and byways. Okay. The officers at no time feared for their lives, felt compelled to physically retaliate, and believed any nearby crowd would immediately riot in response to the defendant's words. And that's a very important thing. Is that in order for language to be disruptive to the public, disturbing the peace, there has to be more than me standing there. Okay? Right? Okay. In order for my speech to rouse anybody to the level of violence, I would have to rate, because there was nobody standing around me when I said, "Get the fuck out of here." He was driving away sealed up in his car. So in order for you to be disorderly, your language has to rise to the level that it would make a reasonable person violent against you, to retaliate against you. Since there was nobody standing there except for me, am I going to punch myself in the face because I was offended by me saying, am I telling myself to get the fuck out of there? Am I telling Carolina Honor, "Hey, let's get the fuck out of here"? There's many ways to say that word, and that's one. It's up to the interpretation. Okay. So let's get back to this. Okay, this judge is actually really brilliant. Okay. Based on the foregoing findings of facts, the court concludes as a matter of law that 1497 prohibits the use of indecent and profane language in a loud and boisterous manner on a public road or highway and in the hearing of two or more persons. Number two, based upon the stipulations of the parties, defendant's use of the word assholes occurred while she was on the sidewalk, and thus was not on a public road or highway, and therefore cannot, as a matter of law, violate 1497. The remaining statements by the defendant to be analyzed is her use of the word damn while standing in the street. A statute is unconstitutionally overbroad if it reaches a substantial amount of constitutionally protected conduct. City of Hill versus City of Houston versus Hill. Do you see that? Do you see that reference? Now, this is a dismissal. This isn't a trial. This is a motion to the judge for dismissal. And this judge got it right in a dismissal hearing. It's so funny, okay? Of course, this is Ford 1497. But that doesn't make 14-288.4 disorderly conduct rise to the level of that even. So let's move on. This judge is brilliant in a dismissal hearing or order. Okay. A statute is unconstitutionally overbroad if it reaches a substantial amount of constitutionally protected conduct. City of Houston versus Hill. A line of United States Supreme Court cases, including Lewis versus the City of New Orleans and Gooding versus Wilson, invalidate as overbroad statutes attempting to criminalize the use of obscene or abusive language under certain circumstances. This judge is brilliant. 14-97 is overbroad in that it prohibits and criminalizes constitutionally protected speech, whether well-intentioned but perhaps in poor taste, a protest or rally using profane language, high-spirited, profane but happy exaltation directed at no one in particular on Franklin Street by a zealous Tar Heel after a national championship or otherwise. A statute is unconstitutionally vague if it leaves the public uncertain as to the conduct it prohibits. This judge is brilliant. 1497 defines neither indecent nor profane, and thus leaves to the imagination or an officer's discretion that what those terms mean, and which words used in what context would be prohibited. There is no longer any consensus, if there ever was, on what words in the modern American lexicon are indecent or profane. A reasonable person cannot be certain before she acts that her language is not violative of this law, and it is therefore unconstitutionally vague. Number 9, furthermore, and further unconstitutional as applied to defendant, in this case, as her actions and use of the word damn while standing in the street or protected speech. Right? Okay, therefore, why do I keep on saying therefore? Oh, that's why I say therefore. Adjudged and decreed that because part of the language used by defendant occurred while she was not on a public road or highway, that's the important thing. She was on the sidewalk. Okay? So if she was on the public, okay, I'll finish this and I'll talk about it in here a second. While she was not on a public road or highway, and because 1497 is unconstitutional on its face and is applied to defendant's motion to dismiss is granted. Alan Brador, right there. Okay. This is North Carolina law. This is a dismissal. It is national law. It's constitutional law. And this judge Superior Court judge has enough sense. Yeah, they always say that public sidewalks is private. That is right, Ira Z. Ira Z. So when it's applicable to my case, if this district attorney, and I don't mean to be forward or anything, and I don't mean to be cocky and arrogant because I'm really a stupid son of a bitch. I am really stupid. I'm not that smart of a guy, but it isn't hard to understand what is disorderly and isn't. Okay, everybody's been in many positions where they've argued back and forth, face to face with somebody, but it never rose to the level of fisticuffs, right? Sometimes it does, and most of the time, if you knock the dude's tooth out, they don't ever press charges anyhow, because most of the time, the guy's like, yeah, I was an asshole, you deserved it. But anyhow, that's not here nor there. The fact is this judge got it right. Okay. So, next up, next up, this case right here behind me was 2011. That was 2011. Now, let's move to this one. This is 2013. Okay, here we go. North Carolina man charged with violating law already held to be unconstitutional. Police have charged a Wilson, North Carolina man with violating a 100-year-old profanity law that a North Carolina judge has found unconstitutional. Prosecutors and police commanders said Friday they would examine the arrest of 37-year-old Joe Ricky Carson on a charge of using profane language on a public road or highway. Carson was arrested December 21st and has a court appearance scheduled in February. Okay. Let's move down to here. Here are the facts of the case. Wilson police officer approached Carson at 7:39 p.m., December 21st, when they found him sitting in a car with his headlights out on the 1200 block of Adams Street. Let me X this out. Close. Okay. Hey, Carolina Auditor, how you doing? How you doing, Carolina Auditor? Okay, now here we move. Let's move on. 1200 block of Adams Street, Police Spoke Sergeant Steve Shroud said. While the officers were approaching Carson, he opened his car door and the officers inquired about his presence in the area. Shroud said in a Friday statement summarizing the arrest, Carson began using profanity at the officers even after being warned that doing so would subject him to arrest. Carson continued using profanity during the encounter and was arrested for using profanity on a street or highway. Now, we just got done reading the dismissal about that particular 14-97 code in 2011. Okay. Moving down. The story gets great. Here we are. Shroud didn't describe the profanity Carson is accusing of using. A warrant for his arrest lists only text from the state statute and does not record Carson's words. So the arrest warrant didn't even have the words that he spoke. Didn't have the fuck, didn't have the asshole, didn't have any, they didn't write any language down on the charge that he used. Like for mine says, right here. Mine says, he uses. Okay. Mine says, get the fuck out of here. Right there on the charge, right there on the charging document. Okay. They didn't even list any words. Carson was brought before a Wilson County magistrate and received a $500 secured bond. His court appearance on the charge is scheduled for February 11th. Okay. Okay. Imagine it. The cops come with the dude. He opens up his car door. He says, "Oh, get the fuck out of here, dude. Come on, man." Right? Why you hassle me? It's 2 days, 3 days before Christmas, right? 4 days before Christmas. You know, maybe I'm just setting up some Christmas presents for somebody. You know, why you bother me? Why are you hassling me? Get the hell out of my face. Right? You can see it. Okay. General Statute 4, right down here, 14197 states that if a person shall on a public road or highway and in the hearing of two or more persons is a loud and boisterous manner, uses indecent or profane language, blah, 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 right? That statute came way back in 1913 before the Supreme Court started dealing with First Amendment cases. Okay. Now, it goes down here. It talks about Judge Brodeur granting a motion to dismiss profanity charges 4 years earlier. Okay. There's Judge Brodeur's opinion. Now, let's go down here. Now, watch this. Listen to this. Right here. This quite obviously does not apply in North Carolina cases, given that the alleged profanity was directed at two police officers with no members of the general public around to even hear them. Do you see that? Do you see the similarities between this and that guy? The police cannot be the charge. They can't be the ones that say that they were the ones that were the victims of the bad language. Right, it's a secondary charge. Disorderly is almost certainly a secondary charge because usually there's fighting somebody before you get charged with disorderly. So, of course, whenever you say you're an asshole to a police officer, that police officer cannot arrest you for disorderly because it does not rise to the level of the physical violence that he's putting on you. By me telling that police officer to get the fuck out of here does not rise to the level in general, even if there was a crowd around, to rise to the level that it's going to incite that crowd to react against me and or the general public, include the officer. But who am I? Who did I offend? Nobody was around, just I was. Same thing here. Who was around? Just the guy sitting in the car just before Christmas, minding his own business, and these cops have to come up and hassle him. Okay. So let's read on, because this is brilliant. Right here. At the same time, though, it makes clear that there are certain circumstances where using profanity can lead to legal trouble. The North Carolina statute, though, seems to clearly be both overly broad and constitutionally vague. The prosecutors in Wilson County ought to seriously consider dismissing the charges before they come out looking like fools. Get that? Dude. Again, I don't like to be cocky or arrogant, like, hey, do you get this, Guthrie, or anything? I did that in my last show. I was like, you know what I'm talking about here, Guthrie, you understand? But the district attorney, if you don't drop this like a hot potato, you're going to look like a fool, man. And I'm not saying that to be mean or angry or anything. I'm just saying it's the truth. Okay? Again, Sergeant Guthrie was butthurt. Don't be butthurt like Sergeant Guthrie, Mr. District Attorney, Assistant District Attorney, Prosecutor. Don't be butthurt. just acknowledge that it's bullshit and just drop it and move on with your prosecutorial ventures. And by the way, I want my record expunged too. By the way, that would be nice. But he'll know I'm not going to plead out. Are you half out of your mind? Okay, I'm going to take a short break. You guys take a short break because I'm going to come back on the backside of this and I'm going to do one more case law that is just really brilliant. Okay, it's another one that I found that's just a really brilliant case law, and I'll be right back with that. All right, enjoy my law library while you're at it. Okay.
What'd you turn my show off for?
I gotta show you something. This is all over the news right now. It's trending.
People talk.
Take a look at this.
Everything going on right now.
I'll watch it.
Enough for you. Take a look at this. The Pentagon releasing these videos of what they are calling unidentified aerial phenomena.
Holy fuck! I told you, motherfucker, there's UFOs out there. You wouldn't fucking believe me. Do you believe me now, motherfucker? I told you all this fucking time. I know they was. Son of a bitch.
We don't know if it's for sure aliens.
I don't give a hurry, fuck.
Granny, get that off your head.
Tell you what, I'm gonna wear my motherfucking hat. They ain't gonna suck my brain out of my head. Look at that motherfucker. Look at that. That's a fucking alien. And you tell me not to wear my fucking hat? You're stupider than hell. You won't listen to me, motherfucker.
Granny, it looks like a smudge on the camera lens.
It ain't no fucking smudge on the camera lens, asshole. They wouldn't put it on fucking TV. It's a fucking UFO. And I'll be damned if they're gonna suck my brain out of my head.
Granny, that's probably fake.
That's on national news, asshole. The Pentagon officially released it. They're fucking UFOs out there. I told you, asshole. I told you by fuck they was, but you wouldn't believe me. They probably the ones that started this damn coronavirus. And everything else, I know it's getting close to the end of time. And motherfucker, when are you gonna start believing me when I tell you something? You think old grandma is stupid, but I ain't fucking stupid, asshole. I told you.
Well, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
What the fuck is there to do? We can't do a damn thing about it. But I know one thing, I'm gonna wear my fucking hat.
Where can we go?
Where is it gonna go? I was the fuck I know where we was gonna go.
Remain unidentified. Former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid welcomed the disclosure on Twitter, saying the U.S. needs to take a serious scientific look at this and any potential national security implications. Reid, whose home state of Nevada is, of course, the home of Area 51, also noted that this.
See, I told you, we're gonna be abducted. He mentioned Area 68. I told you, motherfucker. And like the other night, I told you I heard voices coming through my fucking radio, and they was going. And you like to make fucking fun of me now, you asshole. Motherfucker.
All right, I'm telling you, you better get your aluminum foil hat on. They're coming after you. But of course, I am 300 feet deep, safe from any doomsday, any alien attacks, any zombie attacks, any NSA eavesdropping techniques, any FBI prying eyes. The police don't know where I'm at. They can't suck any information out of my brain whatsoever. I'm telling you. Do you have your aluminum foil hat? Okay. I think I'm safe. So I'm going to take my aluminum foil hat off. Put my regular hat back on. There we go. All right. All right. Did everybody get what that lady was saying? And it's true. And you know what? She said, Carolina auditor, that's funny. Um, okay. So, what was I just going to say? I forget. See, somebody sucked that memory right out of me. No. All right. So, let's get back to this case, and it's one more case I want to show you. It's just this brilliant case, man. Okay. Right over here. Sandal versus Larian, right? Okay. This is a good one, man. United States Court of Appeals, 6th Circuit, okay? Okay, let's get down to the meat of the right here. On August 3rd, 1990, Officer Larian of the Livonia Police Department, while on patrol duty, was talking with a group of abortion protesters who were picketing outside a local restaurant. While Larian was talking with the protesters, a truck drove by at a high rate of speed. The passenger in the truck, plaintiff John Sandal, leaned out the vehicle as it passed by the abortion protesters and shouted, "Fuck you!" and extended his middle finger to the group. The car, which Sandal was traveling, was separated from the protesters by a lane of traffic, a grassy medium strip, and a sidewalk. Excuse me. Believing that Sandal's conduct violated the Livonia's disorderly conduct ordinance, Larian began pursuing the truck in hot pursuit until Sandal stopped in front of his home. Larian requested identification. "Give me your ID." And Sandal replied that his identification was inside his house. Larian then informed Sandal that he was under arrest for trying to start a riot. You were trying to start a riot with them abortion. It didn't say anti-protester, or it didn't say pro-abortion protester. It just said abortion protester. But you were gonna cause a riot by yelling "fuck you" as you were going away in a high rate of speed. Okay. Right down here. Larian followed Sandal to the porch and grabbed Sandal's arm in an attempt to prevent him from entering the house. Larian maintained that Sandal swung at him and missed. That's why he didn't have any black eye or busted out tooth, because Sandal was a terrible pugilist. All right. Larian followed Sandal to the porch and grabbed Sandal's arm in an attempt to prevent him from entering the house. Larian maintained that Sandal swung at him and missed, pulled away from him and entered the house. Larian further contends that Sandal began yelling obscenities at him from inside the house, and that Sandal emerged from the house carrying a butcher's knife, threatening to kill Larian. Oh my Lord. Holy cow, the dude comes out with the Norman Bates deal. Okay. Tattoo Man, how are you doing? Tattoo Man, don't have any tattoos. I have natural tattoos, broken knuckles and scars and all of that. I have all the tattoos you want, natural. But Tattoo Man, good morning. We're talking Sandal versus Larian. Okay. So, guy drives by abortion protesters at a high rate of speed, leans out his car with his middle fingers up and says, "Fuck you." The cop gets into hot pursuit because he knows that he was about to cause a riot. So he follows the guy to his home, pulls into his house. The guy goes up to his porch. The cop grabs the guy by the arm and says, "No, you're not going inside." Sandal swings at the police officer, misses. The police officer ducks, and Sandal runs into his house. And from inside his house, he starts yelling at him, "You dirty, rotten motherfucker, blah, 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 blah." And the cop is like, Larian, who's the cop, says, "He's disorderly. He's swearing at me, and he swore out there driving by." So all of a sudden, the door opens up, and there Sandal is with the kitchen knife. A big hacking butcher's knife, coming at the police officer. What to do? What to do? What happened? What happened? I want to find out. Okay, here's what happened. Officer Larian called for backup assistance. Among the responding officers were defendants Sergeant Stevenson and Sergeant Little. Ultimately, Sandal was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct and... down here. Among the responding officers were defendant Sergeant Stevenson, Sergeant Little. Ultimately, Sandal was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct and felonious assault. Okay. Following the trial in state court, Sandal was acquitted of the disorderly conduct charge. A mistrial was declared on the felonious assault charge. On March 30th, 1993, Sandal filed a complaint in Michigan Wayne County Circuit Court against alleged violations of his constitutional rights under the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendment and violations of analogous state laws. You're on your way to work, Tattoo Man. Specifically, Sandal alleges unlawful arrest, unlawful entry, and excessive force. The action was removed to the district court for the Eastern District of Michigan. The defendant then Mario, my cat. Getting in the way. Sorry, he's getting in the way. Okay. So what Sandal is doing is he already went to the courts. The disorderly conduct charge was dismissed. And what he's doing, he is suing the police officers under 1983. So what this is Sandal civilly suing the police officers. Okay. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let's get to the meat of it. Not the excessive force. We don't want that. We don't want the falseful arrest. We want I think right here. Yes. Here's where we want. Now, this is where this case is very, very important. This is where this case pertains to. This is a multifaceted case, from a guy trying to stab a police to other charges that they talk about, and they're trying to resolve under First, Fourth, and 14th Amendment charges. So they're whittling down, yeah, we're going to hear this and we're not going to hear that. Okay, and this is right here, right up top, they start saying, we begin by confronting the second issue. the dismissal of Sandoval's excessive force claim. Sandoval cannot appeal the order dismissing the excessive force because it was dismissed without prejudice. Such a dismissal is not a final judgment and is not a final judgment, and thus no appeal is permitted. Okay. We state finally that Sandoval does not challenge the constitutionality of the ordinance. Well, okay. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Sandoval, while was exercising his right, free speech, and that because Officer Larian should have known that he was violating Sandoval's First Amendment right, he is not entitled to qualified immunity. Okay, now this part right here deals with qualified immunity, and if this part right here deals with qualified immunity when it comes to disorderly for fuck you when he was driving by the protesters. That charge was dismissed. So the only chance that Sandoval has at winning this case right here isn't based upon the arrest itself, because the arrest was justified when you start wielding a knife. So that's kicked out. Okay, you can't sue these officers for that arrest as illegal. It was a legitimate arrest. But this right here is the important part of this case. The initial probable cause to pull him over for saying, fuck you. So if the police officer would have never pulled him over, Sandoval would have never come out of the house with the knife. Why did you have probable cause? You charged him with disorderly conduct first and then aggravated assault and all of that. So where was your probable cause just because he yelled out the fuck you to some protesters? Give you justification, just cause, and probable cause to arrest this man or detain him in any way. And that's what they're arguing here. Now, Sandoval is arguing that his First Amendment rights to say, fuck you, to protesters as he's driving by is constitutional speech. The officers said it wasn't, that it was disorderly. And this is why it's important to my case. This portion right here. Check it out. Okay. Rather, Sandoval argues that Officer Larson violated his constitutional rights by falsely arresting Sandoval while he was exercising his rights to free speech, and that because Officer Larian should have known that he was violating Sandoval's First Amendment right, he is not entitled to qualified immunity. Okay. Government officials are generally entitled to qualified immunity when performing discretionary functions as long as that conduct does not violate clearly established or statutory or constitutional rights which a reasonable person would have known. Okay. In order to assert a violation of a clearly established right and defend a qualified immunity defense, the contours of the right must be sufficiently clear that a reasonable official would understand that what he is doing violates that right. In other words, in the light of pre-existing law, the unlawfulness must be apparent. To prove that a right was clearly established, and claimant can draw from either Supreme Court precedent from this court, or cases from other courts which point unmistakably to the unconstitutionality of the conduct and are so clearly foreshadowed by applicable direct authority as to leave no doubt in the mind of a reasonable officer that his conduct was unconstitutional. Okay. Okay, that was a mouthful. what it says is if it's such clear case law that words are not a crime, then you can hold the police officer personally liable. He is no longer covered under, I didn't know that law. It just nobody ever taught it to me, and it never dawned on me to research a disorderly conduct and speech and all of that. It just never occurred to me. No. That isn't the way it works. It is such clear established case law from Cohen versus California to Houston versus Hill to all of these cases that I showed you tonight in North Carolina from the 1497 profanity alongside the highways up to the disorderly conduct by which I was charged. So what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to help the government of Pitt County out here. Really, if you think about what I'm doing is I'm telling them that, you know what, you need to apologize to me. And maybe I might not take it any further. You gave me these letters, right? Every one of them was identical about 3 different things, okay? You give me an apology. Okay, I'm going to smoke a cigarette for this because this is important. This is important. You give me an apology, it doesn't have to go any further than an apology and whatever reprimands you've done. And I don't even want to know what happened to Sergeant Guthrie or Sergeant Sires. I trust you. Major Atkins, that what you say on these form letters is accurate and true, and that Sheriff Dance is honorable, and what her mission on your website is, and I've read it, your mission, and I believe that Sheriff Paula Dance is an upstanding sheriff. So give me an apology and let's see what happens, right? Because I'm obviously really breaking it down from the last show into this show, case law, factual case law, and I may not be the best reader, and I may be skipping here and stutter there and all of that, but I think people can get it. I mean, I'm stupid that way, but people can get it. So let's continue with Sandoll. Versus multiple officers and their qualified immunity. Okay. They use a reasonable an objective reasonableness standard to determine whether a government official would believe that a right is clearly established. The objective reasonableness test focuses on whether an official, given the facts that the official knew or reasonably should have known about the situation, should have known that his or her particular conduct would not pass scrutiny when applied to the law. On appeal, our task is limited to determine the determination of whether Sandoll's rights were clearly apparent at the time of his arrest. As a preliminary matter, it is necessary to determine whether Sandoll's actions were protected speech. It is well established that, absent a more particularized and compelling reason for its actions, state may not consistently with the First and 14th Amendment make the simple public display, a 4-letter word expletive, a criminal offense. Cohen versus California. In Cohen, the words of individuals expressed were "fuck you" or "also fuck you." The Cohen court explained why such language is entitled to First Amendment protection although it appears to have little redeeming value. While the particular four-letter word being litigated here is perhaps more distasteful than most others of its genre, it is nevertheless often true that one man's vulgarity is another's lyric. Okay? Indeed, we think it is largely because government officials cannot make principal distinctions in this area that the Constitution leaves matters of taste and style largely to the individual. Thus, the use of the F word in and of itself is not criminal conduct. Excuse me. Is not criminal conduct. Is not criminal conduct. I'm really trying to help you out. It is so above and far beyond dispute right here and right now. Disorderly conduct has to amount to fighting words. An individual standing on the street corner or on the sidewalk or on the easement by themselves cannot be disorderly by themselves. They cannot offend themselves to the point where they're going to punch themselves. And seeing that the sheriff was in his vehicle on his way out, I'm the only one standing there. There was other cars driving by, but they didn't hear what I said. Not any more than the officer, the sheriff that was in his vehicle sealed up driving away, because we had committed no crimes at that point because we were driving away. So what I'm trying to tell you is, even if I did say, which I did, get the fuck out of here, that does not rise to the level for you to get out of your vehicle. I proved in 2 other cases here in North Carolina where the judges were brilliant in what they said. So, okay. Here we go. Right down here. The First Amendment protection is very expansive. The only type of language that is denied First Amendment protection is fighting words. Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire. Okay, we'll go past that because we all know what Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire said. Move down. Okay, here's what they say. Well, here's what the judge is say. We conclude that Larian is not entitled to qualified immunity because his actions violated Sondal's clearly established First Amendment rights, which a reasonable officer should have known. Accordingly, the judgment of the district court is reversed, and the case is remanded for further proceedings consistent with this opinion. Do you get that? Okay. Do you see that? People, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I keep on saying that. Carolina auditor's really smart. I'm not that smart. But each one of these cases is a book, a little book into itself. It's a story. It's a real life story that actually happened. And it was litigated all the way to the Supreme Court or whatever circuit court it is. It's amazing. And I don't understand why cops don't dig it as much as I do. Yeah, you aren't expected to know every law. But if you're going to toss disorderly conduct around like it's a billy club, then know everything you can know about that charge. If you're going to use that charge, Mr. Police Officer, as a overall reason to arrest somebody because of whatever circumstance you're in your life, arrest somebody for know it. Know this case law that is around it. If know the speech, know that it has to be fighting. Usually, again, it's a secondary charge. Disorderly conduct. It's already after the assaults have happened. Two guys fighting in the street. Yeah, the assaults happened, and it did rise to the level of fighting. That's why they were fighting. So you charge them with assault and then disorderly conduct. You can really very seldom ever charge disorderly conduct up front, especially if the police officer is the charging party. And if he is also the victim, how odd is it to have the victim also as the charging party on the stand? My friend Carolina Auditor always tells me, although if you're the charging party, go to the magistrate. But you, as the charging party, cannot physically detain and grab that individual and take them to the magistrate. You have to go to the magistrate, and then a warrant will be served on the individual. Then the police will go get them. But at least you go through the magistrate first, and that's what is called a warranted arrest. What happened to me and a lot of people, it's without warrant. The arrest is warrantless. So whenever you have a warrantless arrest, it's up to the discretion of the police officer whether there's probable cause to arrest for whatever disorderly conduct there is. And usually that arrest is happening after he breaks the freaking fight up. Maybe he gets an elbow in the eye. The cop does. Then you can get him for resisting arrest and all of that good stuff. I'm just trying to say, let's be reasonable here. This whole all this case law that I've read, it blows my mind how a sergeant wouldn't know these simple facts. Whenever I learn stuff like this, and I think a person that's in a profession and has stripes like that would really know. But see, what disturbs me most, even more, and I'm going to let this out too. Because I've been really reviewing that particular arrest, the videotape, not only from my angle, but from Carolina Auditor's angle, and my 6-minute ride to the jail video. And he said that the lieutenant heard me. Well, why didn't the lieutenant arrest me? And he was trying to say that that was a crowd, that it was 2 or more people, because him and the lieutenant both heard me say that horrible word, thereby constituting a crowd. Thereby, you have 2 police officers or sheriff deputies, the lieutenant and him, that rose to the level of a riotous and disturbing the peace event. No wonder why the lieutenant walked away real quick. You know? Okay. So now, if the lieutenant was on scene and it's clearly established case law, and the sergeant is on scene and it's clearly established case law, and if the underling, don't even remember his name, Right. Was the crowd driving by? Right. So if the other guy, the other sheriff deputy, who I can't remember his name because he didn't have a name and badge number on, um, they were the crowd. That makes no sense. Um, this whole case is really absurd on its face. It's kooky. It's frightening. If the whole entire okay, here's another thing that I've been working on: the timing. The whole entire encounter lasted 10 minutes. From the time the sheriff deputies got on the scene until the time that I was in handcuffs and being led away. But what makes it really interesting is that I never spoke one word to Sergeant Guthrie. That whole entire time, I never spoke one word to him up until the point where he got out of the vehicle and spoke to me at 8 minutes and 31 seconds into the video. At 8 minutes and 31 seconds is the first time I ever spoke to Sergeant Guthrie throughout. I never asked Sergeant Guthrie for his identification. I asked the other deputy. Sergeant Guthrie was walking around to his side of his vehicle. 406 it was. I asked the lieutenant for his name, badge number. He gave it to me. I asked for the young sheriff because he didn't have his name or badge number on. I asked him for his identification. And he said, well, see you later. We're out of here. That's whenever they walked around. I never once talked to Sergeant Guthrie the whole time. Up until 8:31 in that video. Up to 8:31 in that video, I never spoke to that man in my life. He gets out of his vehicle, and the first words he says to me is, let me tell you something. I said, no, sir, you don't tell me anything. And within 15 seconds of him stepping out of that car, I was in handcuffs. In 15 seconds out of a 10-minute encounter that I never spoke one word to Sergeant Guthrie. I never spoke one word to him up until the point in time that he got out of his car and spoke to me first. And within them 15 seconds of, no, I don't listen to you. You don't tell me anything. Within 15 seconds, I was under arrest. So you're going to tell me that my language within 15 seconds of you stepping out of that vehicle caused such a public disturbance that it brought you to violence. It brought a crowd, you and the other two deputies, to riot or to be agitated. I mean, even agitated, you can agitate a crowd as long as it doesn't come to violence. Okay. So 15 seconds it took him to go from, and that's frightening. That man should not be carrying a weapon. If you get so agitated in 15 seconds and you lose your mind the way you lost your mind, brother, you don't need to be carrying a gun, man. You're going to shoot somebody one of these days. Now, what should I do? What should I do? Should I not continue and try and just say, what he did to me in 15 seconds? He won't do that again. He's going to be a good cop from now on. Well, you know what? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So the thing is should I continue and set an example, or should I accept an apology and let bygones be bygones and hope that he doesn't hurt somebody or kill somebody or maim somebody or any of that? Time will tell. The more I've researched it and the more I've gotten into depth about all of this, here, I'm going to take the display cam off and get back into my law library. The more and more I research all this, the more and more that man's a danger. I keep on thinking he's just a danger. He shouldn't be there. Now with Sergeant Sires, again, man, here's another sergeant from the same county. You know, leaders. You know, I was never a leader in the Marine Corps. I was a Lance Corporal. I was a radio man, 2531 field radio operator. I never wanted the map. I never wanted that. That's why I stuck close to the person with the map, right? Okay. Leadership. I always looked up to my sergeants and my corporals because they were teaching me things, and at times harshly, that they were teaching me things that would enable all of us to survive, right? Okay, yeah. Hey, let me get to all this. Tattoo Man, Ray. I think Tattoo Man's gone. He's out. I think Carolina Auditor, Robin C. How are you doing? Ray Z. Thanks for coming to Semper's Bunkhole, 300 feet deep, safe from any doomsday. Okay. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get off. I'm going to get off because I think I've been on long enough. I don't know how long it's been. Oh, hell, it's only been an hour and 37 minutes. I got through that pretty quick. Okay. Sergeants, corporals in the Marine Corps, they educated you for the benefit of all. They were honorable in why they were educating. Okay. They led by example. Sergeant Guthrie and Sergeant Sires were arrogant, pompous, condescending, rude, telling me where to stand. No, we just proved that we were in public. You were walking away to talk to the complainants. Carolina Auditor showed you the map. You were walking away. You should never have told me to stand over there like a dog. That was rude. People look at it like, well, you shouldn't have been rude to that police officer. Not once was I rude to any of them. It was the contrary. Stand over there. Stay over there. No, that isn't the way it works. We just got done proving to you that we were in public. There's no need for you to bark at me like I'm your canine. I'm not a dog. Sorry. If you want to have your little confab, go over to the complainant's property. Go over to private property. That's all I said. I said it forcefully, sternly, but I didn't yell at him. I didn't say, get your ass over there. I didn't say any of that. I said, no, you don't tell me where to go in private or public. You go to private. That's all I said. But that butt hurt him. That wasn't the sergeant that I said that to. But Guthrie was there. That butt hurt him, and that's what frightens me about it. is that I talked to a lower level, younger deputy that actually listened to me, and he went over him, private property. Sergeant Guthrie got real close to me going around the corner there. He wasn't happy about that. So it was grating on him as they were standing over there on private property and we were standing in public filming them. It just irked him. That's why he waved at Carolina Auditor. We proved that we weren't doing, Carolina Auditor are law abiding citizens. We do not break the law. We make sure we know where we are. We make sure that we do not break the law. Don't treat me like I've broken the law. Now, you could tell me where to stand if you could charge me with a crime. Then yeah, I got to go with you. Got to go. Okay, sergeants. It got under his skin. And then when I started asking for identification, oh man. What's so hard? Your lieutenant was cool. Forget his name too. But I'll remember it eventually. I'll get his name. And here's where I'm going with this. Leadership. Corporals, sergeants, on scene. Setting an example. I don't understand that kind of leadership by example. What he did was not leadership. Here's where I'm going. And here's where I drop it. Guilty and proven innocent, according to law officials. That's exactly right. Here's where I'm going with this. Qualified immunity doesn't only apply to individual officers once the qualified immunity isn't granted. Two sergeants in the same department, one arrests me, one illegally trespasses me, all within a month. Both sergeants. Sergeant Sires had Deputy Carmichael, I do believe his name is. I don't know why I remember Carmichael, but I remember him. Young man, didn't say much. He was there probably training, newbie. But he's standing there with the sergeant, who again is arrogant, pompous, could have gotten to the point of being butthurt if I didn't comply. I wasn't about to go to jail. I was 2 steps away from the entrance. So now I'm not going to go to jail on this one. I'm going to file a complaint, which I did. I got a response back today. Okay, but my point is leadership. Once a court determines that a police officer or official doesn't have qualified immunity, and the reason why I'm touching on leadership is example, and it's also education. Because that's what leading by example is it's a on-the-job education. But not only that, you also have formal education. Okay? If you aren't teaching as a leader your subordinates the proper way to do things, and then if your subordinates, your sergeants, okay, let's say captain, or let's say Major Atkins fails to train his sergeants. And then them sergeants go ahead and violate somebody's rights. Or their sergeants let their deputies that are under them violate people's rights. If you do that chain of command, okay, if you do that chain of command of lower level, just deputy sheriff, and then you go to a sergeant, then you'd go to a lieutenant who's on the scene, and then you go to a major to complain. You are all linked in a chain of command at this point when it comes to you should have known. You should have trained your officers better, your deputies better. It's so obvious that everybody in that chain of command should have known, and it should have never happened. Now, you could not only, I think you know where I'm going. I mean, I don't have to spell it out any further. What do you think? Do you think I have to spell it out any further? Here in this case law right here, what does it say? We conclude that Larian is not entitled to qualified immunity because his actions violated Sandal's clearly established First Amendment right, of which a reasonable officer should have known. Accordingly, the judgment of the district court is reversed. Okay? Good cop, bad cop. That's how they are trained. It isn't even a good cop, bad cop. What it is okay, I'll spell it out. If your sergeants are trained, it would be different if it happened once with one sergeant that got overheated and did the wrong thing. If it was one deputy that did that or sergeant that did that, I can understand. But two sergeants in a 2-month period, roughly 2 months, can violate a person's rights that easily, that quickly, then you have a leadership problem. And that leadership problem could be brought into a 1983 lawsuit based upon lack of training. So the lieutenant who didn't stop the sergeant, who didn't tell either one of them to identify like he should have, the lieutenant should have put the stop to that. No, that's Sergeant Guthrie and that's Deputy so-and-so. It shows a common theme. That's exactly right. So now the lieutenant can be civilly liable. The major can be civilly liable. The sheriff can be civilly liable. This isn't little game territory. This is my constitutional rights. I was willing to die for the Constitution. I'm willing to do this for the Constitution and our rights, our freedoms. Okay? Because, again, 2 leaders, 2 sergeants, 2 different months, acting pretty much the same. It tells me that training isn't there. It tells me a lot. It just really tells me a lot. It's been very telling, you know. I did my video, right? I did my video, and where I went back when I said, Sergeant Sires, I'll be back next week, and Carolina Auditor, and I went back the next week, even though it's been 3 or 4 weeks now, 3 weeks. But we went back, and they pretty much left us alone. Everybody left us alone. Hello. So that's very telling. It tells me a lot. See, each time I go out, I am continuing my story. I am the press. We are all the press. We are the only ones that hold the local officials accountable by keeping an eye on them. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it always should be. If they don't like us watching them, then don't get in the business of government. Go get a job somewhere else. It's up to us as citizens. That's why First Amendment auditing is important. First Amendment auditing is civics. It's what civics 101. Keep an eye on your public officials or they'll rip your ass off. They'll violate your rights. Keep an eye on them. Film them. That's the continuing story. People say, oh, you shouldn't say you're a journalist and you're working on a story. Bullshit. It is a story. It's a continuing story. Each time Carolina auditor and I go out, no, I don't like anything other than straight snuff, Copenhagen. I tried Southern blend. Um, I do like a little bit of bourbon in my Copenhagen. Put a little bit of bourbon, dab of bourbon in there. That's right, Ira. The public has a right to watch them. That's why I have a kinship to the auditing community. Everybody's an individual out there, and that's the great thing about America and auditing. Everybody has their individual style. Now, they hate it. That's right, Ira Z. They hate it. They can't stand that they're being watched. So let's get back to the qualified immunity. I don't want to have to go down this long journey because it's so long and it's so expensive and it's a really long journey to sue civilly anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a police officer or not. Yeah, Robin C., I get you. I get you. Robin C. says, but if you don't follow through with showing them consequences, is that showing them it's okay to violate rights? That's exactly right. Um, it's not a personal thing, and it it's fighting the war, man. We are at war. We are at war with um, pod people. At night, they put them freaking pods next to these people's beds, and they come up and there's it's amazing. When did America turn into a bunch of pussies? I don't understand it. I mean, but anyhow, um, I get the expensive thing, Robin C. Um, I don't mean to prolong this out, but again, I've been really hard at study. Um, Carolina auditor and I went out and did audits uh, this past week, Friday, I do believe. I was kind of feeling not in the greatest shape, so Carolina auditor did most of the work, like he always does. Though Carolina auditor is incredible. Um, we did do some audits this week, so I think Carolina auditor will throw them up. I got to see what I'm going to be doing here with mine too, and maybe get something up. Um, but again, I'm preparing for my case, so I put my uh, going back to finish my story down there at the detention center, I did put that up on my site, and I hope y'all watched it. Um, so now I'm back to work, man. Now I'm back to working on my case. That's if they go for it. Yeah, I don't think they will. I think they'll dismiss, um, or they'll just drop it. They just won't be there. And we'll see where it goes, man. I'm glad that I could keep you up to date as much as I possibly can on this case. I thank you very much for all your support. Robin C, Ira Z, Tattoo Man. Yeah, Catman's out of here. That's who was out of here. Catman was out of here. And again, thank you very much for all your support. Anybody got anything for me? Any questions? Anything like that? Now I'm starting to sound like a, oh, give me your ID. What's your ID, Robin C? Okay, here's what we'll do. I have not played any of my daggum effects or anything tonight. So what we'll do, see, ain't none of my weapons or anything in here. Yeah, I'll continue to keep. Like I said, my hearing's on the 17th, and I'll let you know what happens shortly thereafter, unless there's a gag order on me. One thing, Otto the Watchdog. Welcome, my man. How are you doing? We just got done going over right here. We just got done going over Sandoll versus Larson. Qualified immunity is gone. Larson's, who is the police officer, qualified immunity was gone. Let's go back. Welcome. I forgot to say, welcome, Otto the Watchdog, to Semper's Bunkhole. 300 feet deep, safe from any NSA eavesdropping. Secure from any FBI prying eyes. I do not crack my hatch for anybody. I only crack my hatch to come out and audit. This is my law library, and we're going back to my living room. Robin C., I do not have a civil rights attorney right now. The case that I had talked about earlier, this one right Jeremy Bush. How are you doing, Jeremy? This case that I talked about earlier, this case right here, this is the state of North Carolina versus Samantha Alabano. Okay, what this case is this is an order granting motion to dismiss. This is that case back in 2011 where the Superior Court judge dismissed a disorderly conduct. In essence, granted a motion to dismiss a disorderly conduct based upon Section 14-97, swearing along highways and byways of North Carolina, found that that law was unconstitutionally vague, thereby kicking out the charges. Very smart judge, Alan Brador. Okay, so we want to go over that, applying to my case. And no, I don't have a civil rights attorney right now. And the reason why I'm bringing this case up, is because the law firm that represented Samantha Albano, the law firm that represented her, was the North Carolina ACLU. I do believe. Yeah, I'm almost positive that was the ACLU that defended her, and they were very happy that the judge granted the motion to dismiss. And then we went over this article: North Carolina man charged with violating law already held to be unconstitutional from 2011. Now, this is a case in 2013 that the judge pretty much referenced Judge Brodeur's decision, and in essence, I don't even know what happened to these charges. I don't even think they were ever brought because I can't find anything on this case right here. Man was sitting in his car, and the cops come up and hassled him, and he said, "You know what? Get the fuck out of here." They used profanity, and they charged him with disorderly conduct in Wilson, North Carolina. And can't find any hearing motions. I can't find anything about this case. So what I'm thinking is they dropped the case. Wilson DA dropped the case. So that's what we went over tonight down here in Semper's Bunkhole. Went over qualified immunity and again, Sandoll versus Larson. Qualified immunity where the police officers were not granted qualified immunity because it's such a well-established case law that the word fuck is protected constitutional speech. This happened in 1997. It was decided in 1997. This is after, 10 years after City of Houston versus Hill. So this court right here, the Sixth Circuit, just affirmed the Supreme Court decision on Houston versus Hill, just affirmed that saying the word fuck in public is constitutional protected speech. So to bring everything down that I've done this morning since 4:30 this morning up until now, bring it all down to right here in the living room, Semper's Bunkhole's living room. Yeah, tattoo man. It's tattoo says take it up as far up the list as is needed to go. I agree, and then, again, a reason why I brought up Judge Brodeur's dismissal is because it was the North Carolina ACLU that handled that case. I'm almost positive. So I did contact the North Carolina ACLU. They did give me back a form letter saying that they had gotten my complaint. I also contacted them not only on my arrest, but I've also contacted them on the trespassing also. Just as I was saying earlier, that obviously there's a leadership and training issue at this Pitt County Sheriff's Department, seeing that two sergeants illegally gave action upon me, one arresting me and one threatened me with arrest if I did not remove myself from the premises. So I contacted the ACLU on both of them instances, hoping that they would get the picture of an overall lawsuit when it comes to qualified immunity. Because suing the city, I don't think, or suing the county, I don't think is going to, suing the county alone isn't going to rectify the situation. I think that the leadership let this happen. I think that leadership is not, I don't mean to be mean. I really don't. This is nothing personal, and I'm not trying to attack anybody. I just don't want somebody to die because of these people. I don't want these people to violate people's rights like they're so easily, readily able to do. As I said earlier, I never spoke one word with Sergeant Guthrie in a 10-minute time frame when they were on scene. I never spoke one word to him up until the point where he got out of his vehicle and he spoke to me first. Let me tell you something, he says. I said, no, you don't tell me anything. Within 15 seconds of the first word spoken, I was in handcuffs. I never once spoke to Sergeant Guthrie up until that point, and within 15 seconds, I became disorderly. 15 seconds of a conversation between him getting out of his car to the time I was in handcuffs. 15 seconds. How's that possible? So Sergeant Guthrie's anger got to the level that he had to physically retaliate against me or physically restrain me in 15 seconds flat. 15 seconds flat. It's an amazing thing. So, if he's going to fly off the handle that fast, and Sergeant Sires is going to demand that I leave the property without finding facts out first, then there is lack of training in that police sheriff's department. And I can't see it going any other way than I'm going to have to go through the lot of them. We've seen too many people die under the knee of police officers. I'm not bashing all police officers, but I don't like that 1%. You know what I mean? There's only 1% doing that. That's bullshit. Well, there's only 1% of bad cops. No, that isn't true. There's a whole shitload of bad cops out there, and got to set an example somewhere. That's the great thing about auditing, is you as an individual have the power. Have the power. Look at me doing this. Look at me doing this. Who would have ever thought that we had the power to put on our own show, to create out of our own mind Semper's Bunkhole, and to educate people about the Constitution? The media isn't doing it. The media is just garbage. It's individuals like you and I, auditors, people who create their own content, be it comedy or serious or birds, filming birds, talking about birds. It enables people to present their passions. We don't need no stinking mainstream educated journalists. That's the beauty of freedom of the press, is we're all the press. That's the way it's supposed to be. Journalists aren't going to hold. Journalists go into these places and ask for press passes and shit. What the hell's a press pass in a government building? What the hell is that? And then they look down at you, these press people. They look down at you. Hey, thank you very much, Firecracker Jim. Thank you for saying nice bunkhole. I might hang in there with you a little bit longer. First Amendment auditing is growing by leaps and bounds. I've seen a lot of great auditors out there just ripping it up, boy, just ripping it up. The 90s killed America. Yep, I agree, Tattoo Man. Why not? Let's go over here, see how my horticulturalist is doing. Again, welcome to my horticulture room. Just seeing how everything's going. Seeing if everything's growing all right. Like that? I do too. Hey, pup. Hey, pup.
Smoke weed every day.
That's my horticulturalist. Pup dog. Yeah.
Smoke weed every day.
All right. Okay. You know what? Let me get out of here. I don't even know where any of my things are. Let's go back. Let's go back to the living room. Then I'm going to check out. Good night. Good morning. I mean, yeah, did you like that, Robin C? Yeah, that was my horticulture room with my world famous horticulturalist, Pup Dog. Yeah, it's POPDOG. All one word, Pup Dog. It isn't two separate words. People get him confused with, the other guy. No, that's my horticulturalist. Okay. But no, I don't have a civil rights attorney as of yet. I'm getting literate in how to file 1983 lawsuits, USC 42 1983 lawsuits. I'm getting familiarized with it. So if you have any ideas of a civil rights attorney that I could talk to, let me know. But if not, until then, I don't know. That's down the road a little bit. We'll get to that bridge whenever it comes. But I'm out of here. I'm tired. I've read quite a bit tonight, not as fluently as I wanted to. I educated, hopefully, myself. I know I've educated myself, but hopefully you too. Jeremy, love you, brother. Firecracker, Tattoo, Ray Z, thank you for stopping in. Otto, thank you very much for stopping in. Aqua Lung, I didn't see you in here, but hey, how are you doing, my brother or sister? All right. I'll see you later.